Yeah, so you heard me maybe kind of grunting and groaning in there. The time stuff, it's kind of tricky to keep in the grid of time with the loop, only because I'll get a thought or a distraction in some way that takes my attention from listening to the loop. And any kind of brief little moments of not listening to what you're playing with will get you off if you're, well, in many ways, but in those instances, it was the rhythmic placement that made me have moments of pause and dissatisfaction. But anyways, what this is just 4 random chords that I put together. And this is something that I usually practice every day because I find it fun and challenging, and I like the idea of being able to improvise through a series of chords that aren't conventional and ultimately gives me the flexibility to play over any kind of harmonics. Well, maybe not any, but opens up the skill of being able to handle any set of chords that are presented to me. But a huge part of it is just making sense of whatever it is that you're trying to deal with, just making sense of it musically. And so I guess at the heart of it, that's kind of the main exercise here. The chords that I'm playing, or that I have looped, is D minor 7 with A in the bass to E major 7 with G sharp in the bass. And then C7 with B flat in the bass. Or you could look at it like a C triad with B flat in the bass. One of those kind of chords where you could analyze it in different ways. And then B minor 11. And I don't know, some of the things I'm going to talk about here might not be applicable to your skill level, or maybe you're beyond this. So I'm going to make these videos kind of wide range, and hopefully, some or all of the videos might be helpful. Yeah, so, any details that I'm talking about that you're not sure about or you're curious about, you want me to elaborate on, please feel free to leave any comments or questions you might have about it. So D minor with A in the bass. I'm thinking, the way I typically handle chords in a linear fashion, I guess harmonically too, it's basically like notes of the tonality plus other notes. And the other notes thing is something I'd like to share in another video. But, the color notes. So over the D minor 7, let's see, so, sorry, I wasn't really engaged there. So those are all D Dorian kind of pitches, and then within that I'll throw in, like between this G and this A, I'll throw in, I guess you could call that a blue note. E flat to the C, E, G, I don't know. A bunch of stuff that is just coloring up the inside notes. Like, that wasn't much of it there. How about some of those notes aren't in the key of D minor or D Dorian, but they're connecting the notes in the key of D minor, and just adding, it just activates things in a more linear fashion, which is obviously, the typical jazz kind of thing. But I'm not doing it in any kind of traditional way. I mean, maybe some of that is, I don't know. I studied bebop for quite a while, so maybe there's some bebop in there. But I'm not thinking like that. I'm more just trying to hear melodically and connecting tonal pitches with non-tonal pitches in a way that just makes sense, hopefully makes sense melodically. And then, yeah, this E major 7 with G sharp in the bass. There's different ways to analyze these chords. You could think of it as G sharp minor with E. So a G sharp minor flat 6. I'm not sure, but I was kind of hearing it as E major 7 with G sharp, and typical scale would be Lydian. Like something like that. This chord's in Lydian, this one isn't, that one is. I mean, that's a pretty common device, right? It's just a half-step approach. But maybe those voicings aren't so conventional. I'll do that harmonically as well. Maybe that, again, like that's maybe a whole other subject I can get into deeper. But just trying to elaborate a little bit on how I'm kind of approaching improvising over this. And again, I was just doing it linearly. Typically, I mix up a lot of harmonic stuff with melodic stuff, and it's all at the center of all that stuff is rhythmic content, right? That's what kind of again is at the heart of music, is rhythm. Right? I mean, there's not an instrument on the planet that doesn't express rhythm in some way. So maybe that's a whole other video too. So many videos could be made about each one of these subjects. But anyways, then C7 with B flat in the bass, or C with B flat in the bass. One of my favorite scales for that is, I'll play it in C. I think of it as Mixolydian sharp 4. It's more common to think of it as Lydian flat 7, but because it's not being applied in a Lydian tonality, it's more of a Mixolydian sound, or it is. I think of it as Mixolydian sharp 4. But that doesn't mean I'm limited to it, exactly what I was just saying before. I could totally, I could play anything, and as long as, I resolve it in a musical way, or use it in a musical way, then it's cool. So I can play Mixolydian type notes with like the F, with that sharp 11 too, with a major 7 to a flat, yeah. It just, to my ear anyways, it can just make it a little more interesting sounding. I mean, blues guys do this too, you listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan, he throws in these little colors, not quite as much as maybe I'm doing, but it's in there. Yeah, like on just a regular minor pentatonic, he might throw in a major 7. I mean, he wouldn't play like, I can't play like Stevie Ray Vaughan, so I'm not going to pretend, but that kind of thing. It just makes it a little more interesting to throw those things in. Anyways, let's see, C7 and then B minor 11. Again, Dorian's common, but you can again throw in. See, now I'm feeling like I'm more warmed up now. This is how I should start my videos, when I'm fully warmed up. But anyways, won't make excuses. But yeah, so just wanted to share one of the things I'm working on. I'm going to continue, maybe I already said this, to share many different things that I'm working on, and that evolves over time, so the topics will change, and I'll just kind of share with you guys what I'm working on, and hopefully it'll inspire you to maybe not do exactly what I'm doing, but maybe it'll send you in a direction that you dig, and get you working on some stuff. Yeah, again, if you have any questions about the stuff, feel free to hit me with them, and I'll talk to you guys maybe likely tomorrow. All right, thanks.